Now, yep. Yes, I talk a little, use my normal voice, normal voice, normal voice, normal voice, normal voice, normal voice. Yep. Right now, on the National Weather Desk, as the eastern half of the nation braces for an Arctic blast, the West Coast sees more king tides and rainy weather.
Please do not drive, bike, walk, or roll through standing water.
Less than a year after deadly floods in Texas, first responders take steps to be better prepared for the next flood.
This is something I really want to have more training and more experience and more knowledge.
Shorter days this time of year means more people are suffering from seasonal affective disorder.
We lose a lot of that light exposure, and so your circadian rhythm kind of goes crazy.
Plus, the jet max that brought damage to central Pennsylvania, a closer look at wind strength and wind chill, and our Friday look at the football forecast.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. A long stretch of stormy weather will finally come to an end along the Pacific coast today. But while the rain and the wind will stop, king tides will continue. People from Southern California to Oregon and Washington are on alert for the potentially dangerous tides. Coastal flood advisories are posted, and for the stormy weather, it's made for some tough commutes. Clara Weber has more from Seattle.
Distance, speed, and don't worry about the schedule.
Those are the steps local bus driver Ernie Lawton takes when maneuvering wet roads.
Then just got a little bit gustier and a little bit wetter along the way, like around 10:30ish or so.
As more rain and wind heads our way this fall, WashDOT is urging all drivers to use extra caution.
Please do not drive, bike, walk, or roll through standing water.
That water pooling on busy roadways as nearby drains start clogging with fallen leaves and debris. Officials say if you can't see the ground underneath, it's always best to avoid it.
Nobody can really tell what the water depth is going to be like or the condition of the road underneath.
Lawton says the rain typically brings out a mix of different drivers.
You have some who are risk takers, and then you have those who are going really, really slow, which is also a risk.
And as stormy conditions persist, the possibility of down power lines grows. Officials warn people to steer clear and report the hazard to 911 immediately.
Always assume a power line is live. Do not touch anything or anyone that comes in contact with the fallen power line or other equipment.
In the eastern half of the nation, the story is the cold. An Arctic blast is coming from the North Pole, delivering temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below normal through the weekend and into next week. And it's not just the northern states. It'll feel more like January in the Florida Panhandle with the potential for some frost. Now to Pennsylvania, where a storm pushed its way through Harrisburg and the surrounding areas, packing strong winds, toppling power lines, and zapping power. We'll bring you the story of a woman who lost her car as a result. But first, meteorologist Tom Russell explains why the winds were so strong.
Anytime a front pushes through, you get the winds ahead of this thing, and they do usually pick up. But this got enhanced. So let's take it. It's what we call a jet max. And basically what happens is we have the front. We know that's coming through. But in this case, the jet stream, which is usually way up high in the atmosphere, actually mixed down to the surface and enhanced that frontal boundary. So it looks something like this, where you already have the front and its winds, and then all the way from the upper levels of the atmosphere, you get this very strong wind that's part of the jet stream working its way down to the surface, and you get these extra windy conditions. So, for example, it would take a 20-mile-per-hour wind, and all of a sudden it's 40, and we even recorded a 62-mile-per-hour wind at the airport. So we know we had some damaging winds as this crazy little front pushed on through. So yeah, what we call a low-level jet max as it worked its way through.
Kia Raines was visiting her mother in Allison Hill when a major storm hit the area.
I got out the car with my kids. As soon as we got inside the house, we heard a bang. My mom's window broke out. We go outside, there's a big old tree on my car.
She says the car is totaled and that right now she has no idea what to do next.
I've been using Ubers because, I take care of my mom, just Ubering everywhere.
People around the city of Harrisburg praise the city for their quick work cleaning up most of the storm damage. But for Kia, her focus is on figuring out how to navigate the next few weeks without being able to drive to the places she needs to go.
That's my means of transportation to help my mom and get my kids to school and daycare. So if I don't have that, it's like everything is chaos and, just trying to figure everything out.
And now to Central Texas, where deadly summer flooding is inspiring first responders to bolster their skill sets with additional training. Betty Cross reports.
Colton Cantu is a Fredericksburg firefighter and paramedic who has countless hours of training. But one gap in his skill set was swiftwater rescue. He decided it was time to change that after the July 4th deadly and destructive floods in the Hill Country.
Huge impact on me.
Cantu and a dozen other Fredericksburg first responders just completed their first swiftwater rescue training.
It definitely opened my eyes of this is something I really want to have more training and more experience and more knowledge of, performing these life rescues.
So most important part right there.
Captain Lee Dreyer organized the training.
Or we just need to throw a rope to somebody.
He says the summer floods opened everyone's eyes to the value of ensuring rescuers have the skills they need to save lives and not become victims.
People that were kind of on the fence whether they wanted to actually go through and do the training or not, if they would really use it. It put it in to where now they saw the need for it, and we're a little more apt to go to the class and get the training.
Over the past 3 months, half the staff at the Fredericksburg Volunteer Fire Department have been certified in swiftwater rescue.
And it's way off Broadway by about 1,800 miles. But Austin Water employees are taking to the stage to show community members how they bring water to people across the city. Meteorologist Allison Miller reports.
They are really using their bodies every day, doing expert movement. So I feel like I work with the best dancers in town who operate awesome equipment and really create performances that really help to educate Austinites about how our city runs.
On top of entertaining, the performance is meant to provide a perspective most Austin Water customers don't get to see.
A lot of the work that we do is underground. So it's to me, it's really neat to be able to bring that out here on a platform.
Austin Water and Forklift Danceworks hopes the audience walks away thinking about where our drinking water comes from, who's in charge of getting it to us, and how we can conserve this precious resource.
I always keep in mind that our water comes from the Colorado River and it returns to the Colorado River. We want to return it just as better than from which it came.
We're told it takes about 100 people to pull this off. Some of those are front linemen turned performers, thankful they don't have to trade in their work boots for dance shoes for this choreographed routine.
Excited to perform and get to show the public and our family what we do behind the scenes, what we do at work and how we take care of the city.
Peak fall foliage is wrapping up in New England, making way for winter's chill, but there's still a little time to enjoy the vibrant leaves before they leave. Meteorologist A.J. Mastrangelo brings us one more look at the seasonal beauty.
The final edition of Autumn in New England with some of the higher mountaintops of northern New England now snow covered. We unfortunately are seeing the end to the fall foliage season here in New England. As we can see, majority of the region now in that past peak color. Still some patchy areas of some very nice color here locally. So let's share some photos. West Greenwich, thank you, Steve, for sending in this gorgeous photo here just a few days ago. It's the bright sunshine illuminating some of the nice trees there right along the water's edge. Bristol, Rhode Island, also we got a critter making its way through. Julie sending in this gorgeous photo here. Still a little bit of some green. So as we were talking about, some trees a little bit more delayed than others. So some nice photos you can still take here in the coming days heading into the weekend. Marilyn sending in this photo from Westport. So we can see definitely some nice color there, despite some of the gray skies we have been seeing here locally.
And today marks 112 years since the start of the so-called White Hurricane. It remains the largest inland maritime disaster in U.S. history. It was actually a major winter storm that struck the Great Lakes from November 7th through the 10th in 1913. Blizzard conditions, hurricane-force winds, and 35-foot waves led to the loss of at least a dozen ships and an estimated 250 lives on Lake Superior and Huron. The disaster led to improvements in shipping communication, weather prediction, and storm preparedness. Now, our time lapse of the day comes from Flagstaff, Arizona. What you see here is not a wildfire. It's a prescribed burn from Wednesday afternoon. It was designed to burn pine needles, leaves, and branches that accumulate over time on the ground. And the fire can help prevent catastrophic wildfires as well as stimulate forest growth. And by the way, Flagstaff should see highs in the mid-60s today. For all the latest weather news and video, check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll look at how a dry and unseasonably warm fall is impacting crops across Texas. And we'll have our Friday football forecast.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a huge range in temperatures on the way in the Northeast today. Parts of the Northeast will warm into the 50s and low 60s. Parts of northern New England and New York will stay in the 30s and 40s. The overall trend will be for increasing clouds. That's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The cold air will have a hard time getting scoured out off to the north. But there will be a stiff southerly wind ahead of that front that will warm up southern areas. Best chance for rain will be afternoon and early night.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. We'll be looking at drier weather for your Friday until the afternoon and evening. The next front that's on the way will bring some showers ahead of it. And then behind it, we're not even going to see temperatures fall a whole lot. You'll have a dry day on Saturday at least. So before that front arrives Friday, we're looking like we'll still get to the 60s. After the front route moves through, temperatures still have a chance to recover though. On Saturday, highs will likely reach the upper 60s, even close to 70 degrees, except for the mountains.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. Cloud cover lingers for most of central and south Florida as we continue through the end of the week, with a chance for scattered showers across the southern portion of the state. Rain across Alabama and parts of Georgia and then Tennessee heading into late Friday into Saturday. Afternoon highs on your Friday return to the 70s for most of the Carolinas, back into the low and mid 80s for most of central and south Florida, with the upper 70s near 80 degrees for the northern Gulf Coast and Mississippi River Valley.
I'm Storm Track 5 Chief Meteorologist Dave Dirks at News 5 WCYB for the Tri-Cities, Tennessee, Virginia. And you're watching the National Weather Desk.
And it's been nearly 1 week since we turned the clocks back 1 hour and re-entered standard time. But health experts say it can take some people several weeks to adjust to the change. And for some, the shorter days with less sunlight means you can get some seasonal depression. Caitlin Herman has more.
You have your alarm clock, you can hit a button, you can turn a dial, and it quickly turns it, fall back 1 hour. Human body's not so simple.
Our bodies are regulated by our circadian rhythm, according to Premier Health's Brittany Jamieson, a 24-hour biological clock regulated by exposure to light that controls everything from sleep to digestion.
We lose a lot of that light exposure, and so your circadian rhythm kind of goes crazy.
Jamieson says it takes between 3 to 7 days for sleep patterns to regulate, so adjusting your bedtime little by little won't shock your circadian rhythm as much. She also suggests moving your mealtime slowly so your digestion can get used to it as well. But something that may be a bit harder to control is your mental health.
People that suffer from seasonal affective disorder and some depression during the winter, they could kind of be more fatigued than normal, losing interest in doing things that you love, really just not wanting to do anything. If it just remains chronic and it's not improving after that kind of about a week, you definitely want to take into consideration seeing your doctor.
Jamieson says to take advantage of mild, sunny days, maybe drink your coffee on the porch or in front of a sunny window. Throw yourself into your hobbies like reading or arts and crafts, and give yourself something to look forward to this upcoming spring, like a vacation or a get-together with friends. Jamieson says the most important thing is to pay attention to what your body is telling you, and don't be afraid to talk to your primary care doctor if you have any concerns.
And farmers in Central Texas are hopeful that rainfall could improve their winter wheat season after months of dry conditions and unseasonably warm temperatures. Alex Webb has more.
After months of dry weather, fields across the big country are still waiting for enough rain to bring wheat up out of the ground.
Right now, it's a little bleak because it's been so dry. Wheat is our main cool season crop in the big country, and this fall has been abnormally dry.
Farmers usually plant in early September to get fall grazing for livestock, but this year that window has closed.
Some started dry planting back early September, but that wheat really hasn't emerged, or very little has emerged because we haven't received any rain. And so thus, here we are we're in late October. There's not going to be any fall grazing for livestock. So we've missed the boat on that.
He says producers can still plant through early December for grain, and this week's forecast could make a big difference.
To receive a good rain, tonight or tomorrow night or through early this weekend would be huge. It would have a great impact on our agriculture industry in Abilene, the big country area.
Although it has helped farmers to finish harvesting quickly, the dry spell has also cut into this year's cotton yields.
In the late summer was hot and dry. It did kind of limit our cotton production some. So the harvest or the yields will be a little less than what originally hoped for.
Ohio meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael loves interacting with viewers. He answers their questions every week on a Facebook segment he calls the Weather Bucket. Let's take a look at what questions he's answering this week.
What is up, everyone? Andrew Buckmichael back with another round of your Weather Bucket questions. Thanks to everyone that's been asking the fall and winter questions on my Facebook page, and let's get to a few of them here. First question coming in from Robert. How is the wind chill calculated? Great question. There is an equation, and the colder it gets, the windier it gets, the more extreme the difference is between the temperature and the wind chill, what it would feel like to your exposed skin. Here's a chart as well. You can kind of see the difference based off of how cold it gets, how long it would take for frostbite to occur. Donna asking a question, how is the official snowfall measured? Is there an official airport ruler? No, any ruler will do. However, you need to make sure that you're measuring it on a clean, hard surface. So a lot of times they'll use about a 16-inch by 16-inch white square, so that way the black color doesn't absorb any extra energy from the sun for melting, but you measure it in there. You want to take several readings, especially if the snow is blowing around, so that way you can get an average, but you need to measure it on a flat, cold surface, so that way there's no melting. Final question here from Michelle. Are we going to have a mild winter or a hard winter? We got to wait till the start of December to see where the jet stream sets up. However, right now it looks like we will likely have a wetter winter than normal for us here across the area with temperatures near normal. So I expect us to have more snow this winter than what we've had for the past few, because the past few winters, we haven't had much here in Central Ohio. Thanks everyone for sending in your weather questions.
And Andrew mentioned wind chill, but wind itself can cause major damage to your car or home. Meteorologist Violet Skybauer looks at how much wind strength it takes to move different objects.
Well, we have a fancy little equation that you plug in the weight and the area of an object to determine the wind speed needed to move it. Looking at some examples, we've got a leaf, a trash can, a person, and a car. Plugging in each of those numbers, it takes 3 miles per hour to move a leaf, 28 miles per hour to move a trash can, 67 miles per hour to move an average person, and 90 miles per hour to move an average car. Now, what type of damage can this do to your house when we have a strong weather system rolling through? We use a scale called the Beaufort wind scale, which ranges from 0 to 12, but we usually start to see damage at level 8. Twigs and small branches are broken off of trees, shingles blown off roofs at level 9, trees broken and structural damage to your home at level 10, and widespread damage at level 11. Level 12, 73 miles per hour or greater, that's when we see violence and destruction. So wind events can do a lot of damage.
For over 3 decades, Josh Morgerman has chased hurricanes and typhoons around the world. Last week, when Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, he was there, positioned in the eye to take measurements and record the damage. This week on our podcast, Off the Radar, Josh sat down with Emily Gracie to talk about what it's like chasing the world's most dangerous weather. Check out this preview of that episode.
Josh Morgerman has a job that most people can't comprehend.
I only chase hurricanes, and as I always say, I'm faithful to hurricanes and I don't sleep around.
Over the past 3 decades, he's deliberately positioned himself inside more than 80 of the world's most dangerous hurricanes and typhoons, documenting catastrophic landfalls across the globe, sharing real-time observations from inside eye walls, and has built a massive following of people who track his every deployment. This week, I'm going off the radar and sitting down with Josh to hear about his most memorable storm intercepts.
From a meteorological perspective, witnessing it was something incredible to behold.
Most terrifying moments.
Everything just turned white. It was like being inside a washing machine.
And what drives him to keep chasing.
Something's got to drive you to want to do that, to overcome all those obstacles, to get inside the storm. So it's almost like if you're not addicted, you're not going to push yourself like that.
And you can find Off the Radar anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. Time now for a short break, but first we soar over Skulls Gap in Virginia.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. A lot of 60s across the plains today. We've got some rain moving its way across the Ohio Valley and lower Great Lakes. As we continue into the day tomorrow, some scattered rain and wintry mix, including some snow in Bismarck. Only a high of 30 degrees tomorrow in Bismarck. And that cold air really pushes in more for Sunday with some scattered rain and snow showers across the Great Lakes.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. A little chilly this morning for our friends up here in Amarillo. 50s up toward Oklahoma City, 60s to the south, and really warm down into Brownsville at around 65. A weak cold front comes through, really won't do much. There's a much stronger one on the way. That'll arrive Saturday night into Sunday, and that could be an issue, bringing cold weather. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, especially in the PNW, we are trying to wring out the last of the showers. It has been a sog fest of a week here in early November, but going for partly sunny skies today for Seattle and Portland. We'll follow that sunshine all the way down the west coast to San Diego and into Orange County, too. Some snow, though, from that northwest storm lifting into Wyoming and Yellowstone later today. And that's the scene from here.
I'm Nathan Chutt, meteorologist at WTOV in Steubenville, Ohio and Wheeling, West Virginia, and you are watching the National Weather Desk.
And it's Friday, which means it's time for the weekend football forecast. Here's meteorologist Katie Morgan.
Well, we are almost to the weekend, and you know what that means. Time to check out some of our football matchups of the week. We're going to start with our college games. We've got some good ones, and snow game alert in Notre Dame. Navy taking on Notre Dame, and the chances of snow likely for the football matchup. It is going to be at night, and it's going to be cold. Temperatures around 32. 39 in Columbia, Missouri. Texas A&M in town taking on Mizzou with sunshine there, and sunny in Lubbock, Texas. BYU at Texas Tech. To our NFL matchups on Sunday, the LA Rams at the 49ers. Beautiful day in California, 75 and sunny. How about a beautiful day in Florida as well? Tampa, the Patriots in town taking on the Buccaneers with a temperature of 77. Another one across the pond, this one in Germany. We have our Berlin matchup at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. The Falcons taking on the Colts, 7 degrees Celsius, I might add. That's 46 in Fahrenheit. We'll look at cloudy skies throughout the game. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Friday. I'm meteorologist Katie Morgan.
And thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Make it a great Friday. We'll see you right back here on Monday for the National Weather Desk.